Northwest politics.
Thank you very much. Wow.
From inside the D.C. Beltway to the steps of Portland City Hall.
Incredibly excited to get going. You know, there's really no time to waste.
It was a political year unlike any other. From walkout fallout.
The call is terminated. The quorum is not present.
To an unexpected nomination.
President-elect Trump nominated a liar and a loser.
From wins and losses on election night.
Our hometown hero, Marie Glusenkamp Perez.
To those we lost this year.
His legacy as a legislative leader will be the stuff of history books.
2024, a year in review, starts now. 2024 was a pivotal year in politics. The nation re-elected Donald Trump as president. Oregon and Southwest Washington played a role in the battle for control of Congress. Portland elected a new mayor and a new expanded city council under an entirely new system of government. And the Oregon legislature reversed a failed experiment to decriminalize street drugs. Eye on Northwest Politics was here for all of it. As we look back on 2024, the year started with unfinished business from 2023 and turmoil at the state capitol in Salem. The first 2 months of 2024 saw the Oregon Supreme Court deliberating the fate of 10 Republican state senators. They walked out of the legislature in May of 2023 over Democrat-sponsored bills they objected to. The 6-week walkout was the longest in Oregon history, and it halted all business in the legislature for 43 days. Senate Republican leader Tim Knopp of Bend was the face of the walkout. Isn't this really an attempt to stymie the Democrat majority agenda, especially when it comes to abortion, gun control, and transgender health care?
Well, here's what the Democrats have an opportunity to be bipartisan, and they're choosing not to be. They're choosing to be extremely partisan.
The senators finally returned, and Democrats conceded some ground on the controversial bills. But Secretary of State LaVon Griffin-Valade upheld voter-approved Measure 113, preventing the senators who walked out from running again after their current terms end. 5 of the 10 senators, including Knopp, sued the state, and in February of this year, the Oregon Supreme Court ruled against them, upholding Measure 113.
Who knows if this is a pause in public service for me and the others, or if it's the end of a road.
Knopp, whose term ends in 2025, stepped down as Senate Republican leader in April of this year. He was replaced by another of the 10 Republicans who walked out, Daniel Bonham of the Dalles, whose legislative term ends in 2027. 2 others, Senators Brian Boquist and Dennis Linthicum, ran for statewide office in November. Boquist was defeated by Democrat Elizabeth Steiner for state treasurer. Linthicum lost to outgoing state treasurer Tobias Reed for Secretary of State. Democrats will have a supermajority in both houses of the state legislature come January. The state's fentanyl crisis took center stage in 2024. In January, Governor Kotek joined leaders in Portland and Multnomah County to declare a fentanyl emergency. And in March, the Oregon legislature reversed voter-approved Measure 110, which decriminalized street drugs. We spoke with the governor about the fentanyl emergency in February.
This is about outcomes. This is not performative politics. We have too many people dying on the streets. We have too many businesses impacted by people using outside. We need to do it differently, and that's what the emergency is about.
In April, Governor Kotek signed House Bill 4002, which recriminalized street drugs and voter-approved Measure 110. Measure 110 decriminalized drugs in favor of alternatives and treatment that never really emerged.
How are you going to arrest somebody that you told was okay to do drugs, and now all of a sudden it's not okay to do drugs?
Arresting people to try and change addiction behavior is not the answer, but there is a role for interrupting that behavior.
In October, Multnomah County opened its first deflection center in southeast Portland, more than a month later than scheduled, and amid complaints from neighbors who said they were not involved in the process.
This is really an opportunity to provide additional pathways to treatment at this critical time for our community.
I feel like we're putting carts before horses and tails are wagging dogs because we don't have what we need for any of this.
As of now, the old warehouse, now deflection center, is offering fewer services than anticipated. And we learned in early December that the cost
than we expected.
The Multnomah County Commission ultimately approved another $1.8 million for the deflection center, now called the Coordinated Care Pathway Center. Much of the $3.8 million total cost is coming from the state. There are also deflection programs in Washington and Clackamas counties after they sued the state over funding levels.
We know this is an experiment, and I know I will be stealing good ideas from other counties, and they will be stealing ideas from me, both on what to do and what not to do. But we're trying to get this underway. We're doing the best we can.
Deflection effectiveness grades so far, incomplete. Oregon and Southwest Washington had the eyes of the nation on us in 2024. We had two hotly contested races that could have tipped the balance of power in Congress. Oregon Congressional District 5, between incumbent Republican Lori Chavez-DeRemer and former state representative Janelle Bynum. And in Washington State Congressional District 3, a rematch pitting incumbent Democrat Marie Gluesenkamp-Perez against Trump-endorsed Republican challenger Joe Kent. And in Oregon, there was an unexpected twist that allowed both congressional candidates here to essentially end up winning.
I'm State Representative Janelle Bynum, and I'm honored to be your next Congresswoman for Oregon's 5th Congressional District.
Businesswoman and former state representative Janelle Bynum flipped the 5th Congressional District back to the Democrats, beating Republican incumbent Lori Chavez-DeRemer, who herself flipped the newly drawn district from the Democrats in 2022. The race drew lots of attention and money nationally, as it was in play to possibly affect the balance of power in Congress. Both residents of Happy Valley, Bynum had already defeated Chavez-DeRemer twice before in state legislative races. Oregon Congressional District 5, a purple district, so both candidates emphasized bipartisanship, as we saw in our CD5 debate here in the Coin Studios in October.
It's not just 1, 2, or 3 issues, it's all the issues. That's how we get good policy, being center-forward, pragmatic, thoughtful thinkers and independent thinkers.
I will continue to serve this district in a bipartisan way, just as I did when I worked on the CHIPS Act, so I will continue to work in the semiconductor and technological space.
Bynum won by just under 11,000 votes, about a 2.5% margin. She becomes the first black member of the Oregon congressional delegation. However, her race did not tip the balance of power in Congress. Republicans took the House and the Senate and the White House with the election of Donald Trump. We asked Janelle Bynum about that on Eye on Northwest Politics shortly after her victory and freshman orientation in D.C.
It is really important for you to set the tone for how you want to play and operate in this new environment. So it's a good opportunity for reset, and I think the younger, newer voices coming in are happy to see that.
However, Lori Chavez-DeRemer may be going to Washington, D.C. after all. President-elect Trump tapped her as his nominee for U.S. Secretary of Labor at the urging of Teamsters Union President Sean O'Brien. Chavez-DeRemer supported pro-union legislation in Congress. Bynum not impressed.
President-elect Trump nominated a liar and a loser.
Ouch. Well, Chavez-DeRemer has already attracted the glare of the national spotlight. She and several other Trump cabinet nominees received bomb threats not long after their nominations were announced. The threats turned out to be hoaxes.
There is an element that really sees violence as a viable form of political expression, and it is threatening to society as a whole.
Violence played out just before the election. In late October, someone set fire to 2 ballot boxes, one in Vancouver, the other outside Multnomah County elections in southeast Portland. No arrests have been made. Fire suppression technology saved most of the ballots in Portland, but hundreds of ballots in Clark County were destroyed, eventually having to be replaced. The violence in Clark County especially concerning, as it was the center of the other closely watched congressional race in the Northwest, Washington Congressional District 3. It was a rematch between Democrat incumbent and businesswoman Marie Gluesenkamp-Perez and a Trump-endorsed Republican, U.S. Special Forces veteran Joe Kent. Their debate in our Coin 6 studios got heated as they talked national issues.
The fentanyl epidemic is a direct result of that open southern border. We need to close down the border.
Border, that is, I think, irrefutable. It's also true that we need the kinds of support, like it has got to be easier to get a spot in rehab than it is to get high.
In the end, the Democrat incumbent, Gluesenkamp-Perez, scored another narrow victory in a district that overall went for Donald Trump. Her win propelled by a focus on middle and working class issues.
People are mad, people are putting groceries on their credit card bill and working 3 jobs and not making rent. They're mad, and you got to take people seriously when they tell you what's going on in their lives.
So although Democrats won the 2 big congressional contests in the Northwest, they rode very different paths to victory. And the Democrats will be in the minority in Washington, D.C.